The game of water polo is officiated by 2 referees who are assisted by a team of minor officials who support gameplay in a number of important ways. Minor official roles may vary slightly based on the equipment available and the host facility, but there are generally 5 responsibilities for the team of minor officials. 1. Game timekeeper. 2. Possession timekeeper, shot clock. 3. Exclusion secretary, penalty time, penalty tracking. 4. Game secretary. 5. Goal judge, 1 on each line. This tutorial will cover the role of the exclusion secretary. Many of the roles described here are the responsibility of the game secretary, but when a specific exclusion secretary is available, they work with the game secretary to fulfill the responsibilities. A major foul in water polo most often results in a 20-second exclusion from play. The exclusion secretary must be aware when the 20 seconds will expire and signal the excluded player back into the game at precisely that instant by showing the proper flag. Sophisticated timing systems will track exclusion time along with the game time. In these instances, the penalty timekeeper simply has to watch the exclusion countdown and signal the player when the clock reaches 0. When using equipment that does not have exclusion time built in, the exclusion secretary must listen for the game timekeeper to call out the time of the exclusion. Then, by simply subtracting 20 seconds, they determine when to signal the player back into the game. For example, an exclusion at 5 minutes and 39 seconds means the player returns to play at 5 minutes and 19 seconds. An exclusion at 1 minute and 16 seconds means the player returns to play at 56 seconds. You should note, even when the exclusion has expired, the player may not return to play until signaled by the referees or minor officials. To signal to the players and coaches the end of an exclusion, the exclusion secretary is equipped with 4 colored flags: blue, white, red, and yellow. To signal a player back into the game, the exclusion secretary raises the flag corresponding to the team's cap color high in the air. The blue flag is used to signal any dark cap player. The white flag is used to signal any light cap player. The minor official does not have to wave the flag or jump up to be noticed. It's the responsibility of the player in the pool to be aware and watch for the signal. Simply hold the flag up high so that it is clearly visible to the benches until the player re-enters the game. The red flag is used most commonly to indicate when a player has received their 3rd major foul in the game and are now excluded, with substitution from the remainder of the match. The red flag should be raised as soon as possible while the exclusion is being served so a replacement player can be prepared. For advanced minor officials only, the secretary or exclusion timekeeper can also use the red flag to indicate a player or replacement player has entered play inappropriately. In most casual tournaments, the referee will keep an eye on this. But when re-entering the game, the player must enter from the re-entry area, must not push off aggressively from the wall or lane rope. In the case of a replacement player, the player must slip into the water and enter from the re-entry area, and the replacement player must not enter the game until the excluded player has resurfaced in the re-entry area or a goal is scored, regardless of signal from minor officials. Must not enter before the exclusion has expired and have been shown the flag signaling their exclusion is over or may be signaled in by the referee. In the case of a goal, the exclusion is ended and any penalized players return to the game without signals. In the case of a turnover, the referee will wave the excluded player back into play and no action is required by the minor officials. In the case of a block shot in which the offensive team retains the ball, the exclusion continues to count down and the team in possession will have a new 30-second shot clock. Though not commonly available for casual tournaments, the yellow flag is used to signal the end of a 4-minute brutality exclusion. The minor official holds up the yellow flag and the flag of the cap color of the player to signal him or her back into play. Note: a 4-minute exclusion does not end if a goal is scored. The full 4 minutes must be served. As explained previously, a player is allowed only 3 major fouls in one water polo match. These include exclusions and penalty fouls. Upon receiving their third major, they have fouled out and are excluded from further play that game. The secretary tracks all major fouls on the official game record or game sheet, and the penalty tracker will maintain an up-to-the-minute penalty board to display to both benches and officials all major fouls that have been called in the game. Here's an example of a penalty board. Number 3 and 5 blue each have 1 major. Number 2 blue has 2 majors. Number 7 blue has 3 majors and fouled out. Number 9 white has 2 majors. And number 4 white is also out of the game. We should also note that occasionally in a game, a player may switch cap numbers with another player, or to replace a broken cap, they may take an unused number. Each player's fouls on the exclusion board must be moved to align with the numbers that they are currently wearing. And another note, an exclusion awarded at the end of a quarter carries on to the next quarter, and the amount of time left in the exclusion must be calculated. The exclusion player starts in the re-entry area. If their team wins the swim-off, the referee will signal the player back in. If the team with the player advantage wins the swim-off, the excluded player remains in the re-entry area and the normal rules apply. To better understand the game of water polo and all minor official rules, please be sure to watch all 5 tutorial videos in this series. These include Game Timekeeper, Possession Timekeeper, Exclusion Secretary, Game Secretary, and Goal Judge. Thank you.